One of the challenges about global sustainability and the ways in which we think about the future, it's directly connected to the relationship between people and the environment.
Well, we now know that we're facing a planetary crisis, the effects and causes of which are evident both locally within our immediate and everyday environments, but also are evident in much larger ecological systems.
Global warming, pollution of our oceans, is air pollution, the insecurity of the food chain.
So the challenge of sustainability is deciding what we need to change and how we're going to change it.
So one of the reasons why we believe that we are in crisis, or that relationship between society or people and the environment is in crisis, is because of multiple symptoms connected to the environment. That is global warming, is the pollution of our oceans, is air pollution, is the insecurity of the food chain. What has happened since at least the mid-20th century is that those signals have intensified, so the trends are exacerbated.
I think there's lots of reasons for taking an MA like this one, and some of it depends on the particular experience that you've had, either academically or in terms of professional experience or environmental advocacy. The course is designed to incorporate a proliferation of different methods and approaches. It also emphasises the need of taking a challenge or problem-based approach to learning, to research and to communication. Most of the teaching and learning that we'll do will be in relatively small groups. The MA students looking at sustainability and global environmental futures will have opportunities to work alongside students looking at generative technologies, students looking at global health humanities, to think about these in some respects as being connected challenges. There'll also be opportunities to do collaborative work with other students, working on real-world challenges brought and suggested to us by our community partnerships and organisational partnerships outside of the university. So it's a combination of individual research, collaborative work, and collaborative sort of communication of ideas.
What's unique about the programmes is that they're interconnected, although each of them has its distinctive approach and knowledge that is associated with it. The students who take these programmes will initially gain a great foundation in the topic that they're studying. They'll develop their knowledge, and then they will move on to interconnected modules that all the students from across the programmes take on topics such as leadership and working with strategic external partners.
We see leadership as being a set of skills that allow you to really create change and to make change happen, whether that's in a kind of management role, like being a CEO or the manager within a company, or whether it's working within your community, maybe in a role like activism or community leadership. Anything that helps people turn their ideas and their skills into something which improves people's lives is, I think, what leadership really means.
In scholarship, there's an element of description of that time, so the 1950s and 1960s, which is called the Great Acceleration. What that implies is that we are in a situation in the early 21st century, which is different from the situation we were in at the end of 19th century. So one of the reasons why we think of that relationship between people and the environment in crisis is because the symptoms have intensified.
The challenges of looking at sustainable environmental futures is recognising the diversity of interests, perspectives, priorities that exist, looking at just perhaps one resource, one supply chain, one commodity. And one of the things we want to emphasise on the MA is encouraging students to explore, to understand those different perspectives and to sit with discomfort, to sit with the fact that two different agencies, two different interests, both of which are legitimate and significant, see a problem very, very differently. The course will be taught by a range of research specialists from across the university, expert in their fields, working at the very sort of frontier of disciplines concerned with addressing environmental transformation.
We expect people interested in this to be passionate about the environment. to be passionate about what I think is one of the most defining challenges of our generation. The environmental crisis is not going to go away. The environmental crisis is going to continue, and it's going to change dramatically over the years to come.
The programme would be interesting to people who've recently graduated from a range of an arts degree, humanities, social sciences, earth sciences. It might be interesting to people who have some professional experience in a related field of environmental work or environmental concerns. It might be interesting to activists, to environmental activists, to develop or deepen their understanding and their research on sustainability. I think there are a number of roles that graduates in the programme could go on to. So, for example, they could work for an environmental agency. They might choose to pursue further research at this or another university. They might become involved in corporate social responsibility initiatives. They might take up a role in a larger organisation looking specifically at sustainability strategies for that organisation. They might choose to go on to teach. They might go on to look at environmental policy, lobbying and advocacy.
Lancaster has a significant cluster of expertise around futures, and that's across all the 4 faculties of the university. What that means is that we have developed tools, themes, methods, approaches to think about the future in creative ways so that we engage in conversations which are likely to shape the worlds in which we live for the better. And if we do that with our students, that's actually an ideal scenario for us to look forward to.